Welcome to Master Concepts in Chemistry. In this lesson, we will discuss what you need to know to calculate the number of electrons and neutrons in an atom or ion. First of all, you need to know what an atomic number is. So what is an atomic number? An atomic number is the number of protons in an atom. Where do you find the protons in an atom? The protons are found in the nucleus of an atom, which is basically the center of the atom. And these protons are assigned a positive charge. And the number of protons varies precisely from one atom to another. As a result of this fact, you can identify an atom once you know the number of protons. Okay. So the number of protons is like the ID of the atom or element. So let's go to the periodic table to identify the atomic number. So if you have the periodic table, you notice that when you look at any chemical symbol, you'll find two numbers. One number is written above the chemical symbol and another number is written below the chemical symbol. The number written above the chemical symbol is usually the atomic number or the number of protons. And the number written below the chemical symbol is usually the atomic mass. So the atomic number or number of protons is usually a positive whole number. And the atomic mass is usually in decimal fraction. Okay. So once you have the periodic table, you do have the atomic number. And again, this atomic number varies precisely from one atom to another. So the periodic table is organized based on increasing atomic number. So for instance, hydrogen has 1 on top of it. So that's the atomic number of hydrogen. Now if we move to helium, helium has 2 on it. So that is the atomic number of helium. Now if we move to oxygen, you notice that it has 8 on it. So that is the atomic number of oxygen. And again, the atomic number is the same as the number of protons. So let's move on to the next. So what is a neutral atom? A neutral atom is an atom that has an equal number of protons and electrons. So for instance, if we look at sodium on the periodic table, you notice that sodium, which is over here, has 11 written on it. So sodium has an atomic number of 11. So what we can do is we can write the chemical symbol of sodium like so. And we will write the atomic number at the bottom left as a subscript. So that is the atomic number of sodium. Now, because sodium is neutral, now how do we know sodium is neutral? Usually when an atom is charged, you normally see a number and a sign written as a superscript on the top right corner where I've drawn this box. But as you've seen, in neutral sodium, we don't really have any number and sign, so we don't have a charge attached to sodium. So because of this, sodium is a neutral atom. And once it's a neutral atom, it has the same number of protons as electrons. So here, since we know 11 is the atomic number, and the atomic number basically is the number of protons, we would say the number of protons for sodium is equal to 11, and also the number of electrons of sodium equals 11. So because you have an equal number of protons and electrons, we'll say sodium is neutral. Okay. Now, what is a mass number? Mass number is the sum of the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. So basically, the mass number is the atomic number plus the number of neutrons. So usually we can write a mathematical expression relating the mass number to atomic number and number of neutrons. So we'll say the mass number represented as the letter A is equal to the atomic number Z plus the number of neutrons. Now usually when solving problems like this, the mass number is always given to you. So once the mass number is given to you and the periodic table is given to you, then that means that you already know two things. You know the mass number and you know the atomic number. So you can rearrange this equation A minus Z to get the number of neutrons. So once you know the mass number and the atomic number, you can calculate the number of neutrons. Okay, so you have to recall that the mass number is equal to the atomic number plus the number of neutrons. Now, what then is an ion? An ion is a charged atom. We have two types of ions. One type is the positive ion, called the cation, and the other type is the negative ion, called the anion. Okay. So, how do ions form? Ions are formed when an atom loses or gains an electron. So, for instance, if you have a neutron atom like sodium, written like so, if sodium gives away one electron, then it means that sodium will now have fewer electrons compared to protons. So because you have more protons than electrons, and protons are assigned positive charge and electrons are assigned negative charge, it means that you now have more positive charges than negative charges. So as a result, your sodium will become positive charge because it has lost one electron. So to indicate these one electron loss, we'll write a charge attached to our sodium. So we'll say 1 plus. Now, but usually when it's just one charge or when one electron is just lost, we don't include a 1. We just put a sign there. So if I erase the number 1, we just have 1, sodium plus, meaning sodium has lost one electron. And since it has lost one electron, you now have fewer electrons compared to what? Proton, or you have more protons than electrons. So making your sodium positively charged. So this is a cation. Now, what is an anion? So an anion is when an atom gains an electron. So for instance, oxygen has an atomic number of 8. Now, when oxygen gains 2 additional electrons, oxygen will now become 2 minus. So you see here. So the minus sign here means that oxygen has received electrons, and the 2 in front of it is just telling you how many electrons oxygen has received, which is 2. And the overall charge is what? 2 minus, because now you have more electrons than you have protons. So making oxygen negatively charged. Now, if you've looked at what we've discussed, you notice that when forming charges, when an atom forms a charge, it's all about whether it's losing or gaining an electron. And once you understand that, yeah, you can always calculate the number of neutrons or the number of electrons in an atom or an ion. Okay, so in our next lesson, we'll learn how to calculate the number of electrons in an atom or ion. Okay, so thanks for watching.